Hey, welcome to Fun&Gun. Got a gun here that I've been looking to get the chance to shoot for quite a while now. I guess at least since the 2023 NRA show when I first had a chance to put hands on a Stealth Arms Platypus. And I gotta say this particular gun has came a long way since then. Now has all the features I wish it would have had back then when I first got to look at it, because I probably would have went ahead and picked one up. I gotta say this is still not my gun. I want to say a big thanks to my buddy Brian for letting me check this gun out for this video. And I'm going to try to do this a little bit different than the rest of the videos you see. Most of the time you see these guns, they're fully decked out. However, somebody wanted to order it all colorful and whatnot. And this is going to kind of be a, is it worth waiting on a custom version of this gun, or are you good to go with a pre-built or a factory options version of the gun? And the cool thing about this gun is you can get these in 1 to 2 business days when they're in stock versus like 5 to 6 months or whatever their current wait time is on their guns to have them custom built. And if you never really checked out the Platypus, I will say these guns are the most customizable gun I've ever seen on the market. I mean, you can literally change all the way down to the color of the serrations on your magazine release or your small parts here. You can literally pretty much change the color of any component on this gun. You can change the slide cuts, the slide optic cut. You can get a full-length dust cover, a short dust cover, with or without a Picatinny rail. And you can get a round or square trigger guard. You can get different different grip textures with or without a mag well, just all kinds of stuff, different triggers. And what this kind of gonna be is it worth customizing those guns and getting specific features, or are you good to go with a factory option gun? So I'm gonna go ahead and lock this gun open, show you that it is empty. I'm gonna go ahead and set the gun off to the side. I'm gonna go ahead and show you what is included with the gun from the factory. You get a soft case embroidered with Stealth Arms, and it's going to have 5 pockets in there for magazines, 1 pocket for the gun on that side, another pocket on this side if you want to put another gun in there as well. You're going to get the manual, a really cool Stealth Arms Platypus sticker. Kind of jealous about that. It's really cool. Wouldn't mind having that sticker. You get yourself a child safety lock, and you're going to get a baggie here with all kinds of goodies in it, with extra screws, tools, and stuff needed to mount the optic. And it does come with this cover installed on the gun from the factory with a rear sight on it. You do still have a rear sight on the gun. We'll get to that a little bit later on. And you also get a shorter pin for your mainspring housing if you do want to remove the mag well. So that is what's in right there. And then you're also going to get 2 factory Gen 3 Glock 17 magazines. Now, these aren't the magazines that come with the gun. I didn't bother borrowing the mags. I already had Glock mags laying around, but I will say this one I did put a factory Glock mag base back on, and this one has a aggressive arms aluminum base plate on it, and we'll get into why that is in a second. But there is a reason for that, because there is something on the mag well I do not prefer. And you also do get a build sheet here going over exactly how this particular gun is set up from the factory. So if you want to go ahead and pause the video and check that out, you can check out all the different options that this version has. And this is the new features version of the gun, so it has all of the nicer features already on this gun from the get-go. And let's go ahead and show you the one thing I do not prefer about the mag well right off the rip here. And we'll go ahead and take the one with the factory mag base on it from Glock. And as you can see there, that is almost beyond flush, or pretty well flush with the mag well. And the issue here is these 2 edges right here that is set up where you can strip a mag if you have a jam. And you do have those on both sides, so if you're left-handed, this is going to affect you as well. So when you slap that mag in, those 2 edges are not sharp, but they do not feel good on the palm of your hand either. And I did notice with these aggressive arm mag bases that I have on my magazines, they are a little bit thicker, and it does prevent your hand from slapping into the mag well right there quite as much. So if you pick one of these guns up, just be prepared to go ahead and get you some slightly thicker mag bases if you don't want to be smacking your hand into them edges. So that is that. And the cool thing is if you didn't know, like I've mentioned, is this gun does take Glock magazines. Therefore, you have pretty much a almost endless amount of different brands of magazines. Just about everybody makes a mag for this that makes a mag. And this being a 17, any Glock 17, being a 17 mag, that is, any Glock 17 magazine or longer will fit in this grip, at least 9mm wise. So that means you could pick up a P-Mag. This is a 27 round magazine, and that fits right in there as well. And you could get your 33 round stick mags, or even your 40 round ETS mags, or if you're really feeling fancy, you can put a drum in there. Now, I'm not going to show you all those options because YouTube is a little bit stupid on their standard capacity mags being showed in the video. And the really nice thing about that is, I guess another thing is this is the largest capacity magazine you can get for a standard 2011, being 29 rounds, and this is an Atlas magazine. This magazine is about $130. And you can pick one of these up for like 15 or 20 bucks. So that is around $100+ difference in the cost of the magazines if you're looking for larger magazines. And Glock also makes these magazines, or magazines this size as well. So the difference in the cost of the magazines are significant. Even on the 17 round magazines, these are way cheaper than a standard 2011 magazine. So that is also a pretty nice thing as well. So that is the really cool feature of this gun, is it takes Glock magazines. And I guess that also makes this the ultimate, if you're a Glock guy, 1911, 2011, to go ahead and pick up, to give it a try, because this gives you an awesome single action trigger that you're not going to be able to achieve with a Glock. Now, I will say I've got reasonably close using a Timney trigger and quite a few different aftermarket components to a 2011 trigger, but you're never going to get the straight pack motion and how crisp and clean these triggers break out of a Glock, especially not with a good, or them to be fully reliable either. So that's just my opinion. Y'all can argue that out in the comments if you choose to do so, but you're going to get a better trigger out of this than a Glock, so that's cool. And if you already got all the magazines laying around for it, you might as well get one and give it a go in my book. So let's go ahead and get into the features that the pre-built version of the gun does have here, and kind of, is it worth waiting on any of the particular features if you're going to have it customized. So first one being is it does come with the mag well. I do prefer the mag well, even if it does have those edges on there. I do prefer having a mag well. You're going to get the aggressive grip texture, which is the medium, I guess. They have one that's lower than this, and that is one thing about these guns. When I originally looked at them, they were kind of slippery and did not prefer that. So they have this one, and then they have one that's more aggressive than this. And I'm not exactly sure why you need that. I would like to check one of them out and see how it feels, but I will say that this grip feels absolutely awesome in my book. It's not tearing your hand up. It's not going to build up dead skin in it because of the way it's spaced out. And I will say that gun right there is just to lock into your hand very nicely with this grip texture, and just everything on this grip feels nice. So I can only imagine one that's more stippled than that, I guess. I don't know what the exact word, but more aggressive, I guess, is what I'm going for than that. I can only imagine how well that's going to stay in your hand. So I will say I hadn't shot this gun on a day when it's extremely hot outside, my hands are sweaty, but I don't see that being an issue either with this particular grip texture. So you're getting a good grip texture right off the bat with the pre-built version of the gun. I will say also what aids in this thing feeling so good in the hand is the fact that it is undercut, and this mag well does push up on your hand and lock all that in. Now I will say there is a bit of an edge on the mag well right there that I would say after shooting this gun for a while, your pinky finger is going to get rubbed a little bit, or if you're the same thing on that side. Not exactly sure why they didn't round that off. I've never understood why any company would leave anything sharp edged like that or pointy at all near your hand on a grip, but that's really the only gripe I have about the grip, because everything else on this thing is blended absolutely perfectly. When you grip this gun, nothing is poking you in the web of your finger, or the web of your hand, I mean. And your grip safety is tuned properly. It does go into the hole and seal up everything around. It just looks like it's perfectly fit to the gun. And why I say that is I've messed with guns that are more expensive. This, when you push that in, there's a gap underneath the grip safety, and they jiggle and they drag, and that's just a well-fit part and properly blended to the gun. That goes for the safeties as well. They are also properly blended, and there's no sharp edges right here that I've messed with other 2011s. The bottom of the safety will poke you in the hand a little bit. There'll be something right here in the frame that'll poke you. All that is nice and rounded off on the Platypus. And while we're talking about the safeties, it is an ambidextrous safety on the pre-built version of the gun. Now, these are really small safeties. I'm not exactly sure if they offer a larger safety through the Platypus on the build package. I haven't looked in a while, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. But these are smaller safeties, and they are ambidextrous. And the nice thing is, if you're left-handed, they are the same on both sides. So you're not getting gypped by being left-handed, getting a smaller safety on one side. So that's pretty cool as well. And I'm pretty sure this is one of the components that is not proprietary to the gun. So if you do want to put a large thumb safety on there, you should be able to do that, as long as it clears how wide the frame or how wide the slide is right there. So you might not be able to put a shielded safety on there. And if you put certain ones, you may actually have to trim it out on the backside to clear the frame, or where it sticks out right here for the RMR cut. So that is something that you can fit different ones on there. You just got to be mindful that it's going to clear the slide when it goes up. And another part here that I'm pretty sure is proprietary to the gun is going to be your slide stop thumb release. And I don't think they have any more options on that. So any of them you order, if you order one of these custom, you're going to get the same one. It's a nice one, a nice thumb release. Paddle area, you know, it's nice and large, easy enough to hit with your thumb. So you might as well be prepared to be stuck with that, because the way the inside of it is made, where it catches on the follower, is proprietary. So it'll work with a Glock magazine. That also goes, I believe, for your magazine button. It's going to be set up specifically to lock onto the mag body of a Glock. Now, I will say, like I say on all the 2011 double stack 1911 or any 19, I don't know why they didn't go ahead and drill the hole in this particular mag release where you go ahead and install the larger button. I mean, this gun is literally the most customizable gun on the market. Why not pop that hole in there where you could have one more customization? Just saying, that's my opinion on that. So, like I mentioned on the cut right here, this is the RMR cut. You do have multiple different options for cuts, and that is something that I originally wanted on this gun that they didn't offer when I first seen this gun, was a full-size RMR cut. And the cool thing about this is it does not require a plate, and that is why the slide is as wide as it is, because it is set up to meet the bottom of the red dot you choose to mount. This has a Swamp Box Justice on it, which is kind of the size of a Trijicon SRO with the overhang here. And as you can see right there, the way this particular gun is cut, you do have a little bit of a flat spot right there to allow this to sit as low as possible onto this slide. So you got a nice low sight to bore axis on this particular gun. And that is pretty cool how they got that set up, how low you get the sight on there. And that also allows for it to co-witness nicely. And like I mentioned before, you do have a rear sight that goes ahead and screws into the slide right here on the back side when you take that plate off and lose the other rear sight. And it looks a little odd being as small as it is, but being a backup sight, it's not really that big of a deal. And it also stays out of the way of your optic nicely. On the front of the pre-built gun, you're going to get a green fiber optic. I'll get it in just a second. And that is something, if you prefer a different sight, you're going to have to order it that way. Or you can actually order this gun with no sights on it, just an optics cut, which is really what my buddy wanted here, but wasn't really worth him waiting like 6 months just to get that, because he wanted a black gun regardless. So that's the side option you get. You get one of the cooler looking slide cuts, in my opinion. You're going to get the full length dust cover with the full length pick rail and the squared off trigger guard, which is the way to order one of these guns regardless of how you get it. Just for this reason right here is holster compatibility. By having it set up with the full length dust cover and the squared off trigger guard, this is a holster for a Staccato XC, and this is kind of my universal 2011 holster. As long as they have a rail on them and a square trigger guard, they usually work just fine. And this holster right here, this is made by Black Scorpion Gear, and this is their IDPA Pro holster. Have quite a few different variations of these for different guns, and this is the ones I use with my Watchtower gun. So that is the cool feature of having a square trigger guard and the full length pick rail, is the fact that it's going to be a lot easier in my book to find a holster for, because as you can see there, you should be able to just pick up a holster for a Staccato XC and you're good to go. So that is kind of the way it's set up. We'll go ahead and talk about the way the trigger comes factory in the preset version. This is the 3 to 3.5 pound trigger pull version. You can order these with a 4 pound, which I don't know why you would do that. I guess if that's just for your preference. Then the 3 to 3.4, and that is if you custom order them, that is. And you can get a 2 to 2.5, which would have been my preference, especially seeing as this is kind of more set up as a race gun. The full weight and everything of it, the full length dust cover. And I will say, if I was going to carry one of these guns, I would prefer to have one in a 4 1/4, such as this bull I have right here. That is the gun I actually carry. So that is a preference thing. It's less weight and easier to hide. So let's go ahead and talk about the trigger here. And like I said, it is the 3 to 3.5 pound. Gun is unloaded. You got just a little bit of take up, pretty much nothing at all. And you're on a nice wall, get a nice crisp break and a nice firm and positive reset there. And you could actually hear the reset. So trigger is tuned absolutely perfectly from the factory, in my opinion, especially for the 3 to 3.5. I don't have a trigger gauge, but it feels exactly like what it is advertised as. Now I will say this gun comes with a curved, more of a medium large trigger shoe in it. And I will say, like I said, is I have smaller hands. So this is something from the factory right there. That is where my finger is sitting about like this, with the taking out of the trigger. When it breaks, my finger just barely moves. So my finger is not breaking at a perfect 90. So if you got smaller hands, trigger may be something you want to change out. And that is another proprietary part of this gun. But I do have another friend that has one of these guns, and he said that you can pick the full trigger or the trigger with the bow on it up from Stealth Arms for like 30 bucks. So if the trigger setup is not what you're looking for in the preset gun, I wouldn't worry too much about that, because you can pick up the trigger shoes pretty easily from them, from what I understand, and go ahead and swap that out yourself to get it to what you actually wanted it to be. And then if you know a little bit about tuning these the mainspring, you could also go ahead and get this down to the 2 to 2.5 pound trigger, or if you know someone that knows how to do that. So if the trigger is not exactly what you're looking for, that is a pretty easy something to swap on these guns, from what I understand. And really, that's about it. I mean, this gun, right out of the box, being the factory option gun, in my opinion, has everything I'm looking for. It's got the RMR full-size cut, the better grip, and one more thing here with something that they didn't offer before is a bushingless bull barrel, and that is my preference. I do prefer the bushingless bull barrel. They also offer these guns, if you order them custom, with a bushing barrel, a bushing threaded barrel, and I believe they now offer a bushingless threaded barrel, which would be the option I would go with, because this would be a really cool suppressed host in my opinion. Now, one more thing, I haven't took this gun apart yet, but just talking to him is something that's a bit of a pain in the butt here, is going to be the disassembly, because this is a 2-piece guide rod. So you have to take the slide off and then thread it in half and then take it all the way through the bit and then put it all back. It's a whole process. Now, I will say that I do now prefer a toolless guide rod. I will say that is definitely the option to go with, but I would have rather seen the one with a little hole in it, such as the one on this bull right here, where you just stick a paper clip in it, pull it out, then had to sit there and thread that all in half and all that good junk. But not a big deal. That's on any of the Platypuses you order. So I guess, in my opinion, is it worth waiting the 5 to 6 months on the custom Platypus? That's going to really be up to you, because that's going to really just offer the basically the main advantage there is you're going to be able to order this gun in a pretty much any color combination you want. That's going to be the biggest difference by ordering it that way, and you can change a few cuts. But this gun from the factory has all the best stuff on it. That's why it's called the new features version, aka the best grip texture, the best optics plate cut, and the bushingless bull barrel. So you're getting all the best features right off the rip, minus the fact that I guess the other thing that I guess the best one would be the 2.5 trigger. So essentially, this gun is set up to be a nice duty style gun or even a competition gun. And I don't think if you get this gun, you're going to be disappointed in it. And if you're going to sit there and wait a long time for a different color combination, I guess you could have that as well. So in my opinion, no, it's not worth waiting 6 months to get a different color combination when this gun looks really good and shoots absolutely phenomenally the way it is. I mean, slide fit on this gun, which is going to be on any of them, is extremely smooth. Everything on it just feels nice. And I think the pre-built version here, this is $1,875 MSRP. And I think it's definitely worth its price point for what you're getting with this particular gun. And that's really all I had for you today. Okay, if you made it this far, I just want to say thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. If you're looking for more Fun&Gun right now, you can click one of the 2 recommended videos there. If you're looking for more Fun&Gun later, you can go ahead and click that there subscribe button. I sure would appreciate it. And if you're finding me from Facebook, go ahead and click that open app button at the top to make all that a lot easier. And I'll